Indiana basketball takes down Siena in the non-conference finale, so that means all their problems are solved heading into Big Ten play, right?
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. I am your host. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast. Of course, IU grad, IU fan as well, helping us out here on a Monday night as Indiana wraps up non-conference play with an 81-60 win over Siena. And we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the good, talk about the bad, of course, to our likes and dislikes. Also want to go into a little bit of conference play preview and just kind of how we're feeling coming out of non-con play for this Indiana team, and we're happy to be here on this Monday evening. 81-60, Brian. Indiana takes down Siena on a Monday. Kids are on break. Non-conference play is over, and double-digit win. You get it done easily. Not a ton of energy in the second half, but problems are fixed, right? Everything is fine. Indiana is a legitimate basketball team because of what happened tonight, right?
No. The first half, it's so interesting. They showed a stat that I wasn't aware of. Indiana's like plus roughly 20 points or something in the first half of games. Then in the second half, they're like +2. They just don't have the depth and the talent, and teams adjust. And Indiana falls asleep at home, especially. And I'm just going to call it out. Early in the second half, they thought they were already on their flights to wherever they're going for Christmas break. They had no interest in being in Assembly Hall. No.
Yeah.
But early in the game, they were on fire. That's good. That's the good news. They shot the ball well. They passed it well. They defend like it was 11-1 or something. The game got out of hand quick. But the energy in the second half, I'm sure Coach DeVries probably having a few words right now about that in the locker room, I'm guessing. Because you have to take advantage of every moment to get ready for Big Ten play because it's brutal. They didn't do that tonight.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that I liked in this game. I mean, you look through some of the stats, and again, for those of you that don't know, I'm clearly not at my normal setup. I'm at my parents' house, so hopefully the internet survives while we're here, and so the quality of video audio may not be as good. But you look at what Indiana did this evening: 81 points offensively. You only give up 60 defensively. That Siena team just not efficient from the floor. 33% shooting, 15% from three. They did get to the free throw line, which that says more about Indiana than it does Siena, in my opinion, because the Hoosiers can't figure out how to defend without fouling. So that's exciting that that's still an issue. But for Indiana, on the offensive side of things, Wilkerson did what he does, right? And most of that coming in the first half before he found himself in foul trouble. 23 points, 7 boards, 4 assists for Lamar Wilkerson to just 2 turnovers, so that's good for him. Tucker DeVries did what he does, 16 points. He had 11 boards, double-double tonight for Tucker DeVries. That's a big deal, in my opinion. And then Tayton Conerway picked up a lot of the slack in that second half. He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and only 2 turnovers. And so, again, foul trouble was an issue here, but you know the 3 guys that you can go to right now, and it's Wilkerson, DeVries, and Conerway. Problem is your bigs are doing nothing, your other guards are doing nothing, and your bench is doing nothing for you either right now.
Like Trent Sisley and different guys that I thought would start making them. That's not happening. The big man situation, that's the black hole. Underneath, it's bad. Indiana's going to be like bottom 4 in the Big Ten at the 5 position. Not that Indiana really plays a 5, but that's offensively. Teams can play 4-on-5 to a certain degree. But Connor, he's not a shooter. Your 1 and your 5, at least one of them has to be a consistent scoring threat. They're completely I don't want to say unavailable, but they don't look to shoot.
Well, Enright especially. Enright has no interest in shooting the basketball. It could be 1-on-none, and I think he would peel out and wait for somebody else to come down the floor.
I watched him warm up in that Kentucky game. I went to Rupp, and he's got a good stroke. He was hitting threes. I'm like, why didn't this guy shoot the basketball? He doesn't even look at the rim.
No.
So I think that either that changes very quickly in Big Ten play, or they'll start out over for a little while, because teams at that level know how to do. Like DeVries will get two guys. He will see doubles all the time. They're going to make somebody else shoot in the same thing. I mean, it's obvious what two guys are going to get the ball. So Indiana's got to figure that out. And I think that's why Coach DeVries is so awkward with this. Like, his body language tonight was really bad, and he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
He knows what's coming. He's a very good basketball. I'm very happy IU has him, by the way. I think this is the first guy I feel really comfortable with, really, since a certain guy that's no longer with us.
Yeah.
It's that kind of situation. But anyway, they know they've got to figure some of this out. That's why he tried different lineups and he tried different things. The only thing that I'll say is that Indiana still passes the ball. They're so unselfish. They just got to have – this is so weird. They pass better than they shoot, even though they're a shooting team, because certain guys don't want to shoot the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've complained about the bigs not being aggressive all season, especially Sam Alexis, who got the start again and started out good with a couple of buckets and then went ice cold and then had a couple there down the stretch, of course. But I don't understand, especially in this game where you had the size advantage, right? You had everything you wanted as a big. If you're Alexis or Reed Bailey, the aggression's just not there. It's just the want is not there. I don't know if they're being bullied off the floor to pass the basketball more. I have no idea, but does the lack of size, Brian, does that concern you more on the offensive end of the floor or the defensive end of the floor? Because again, we're going to talk about kind of where we are heading into conference play coming up in just a minute, but the lack of size, more concerning offensively or defensively for Indiana?
Once they get into Big Ten play, it's defense. Teams like Michigan will absolutely bludgeon them.
Yeah.
Nick Dorn being in the lineup tonight was interesting.
Love him. He has really come on strong.
I was surprised because, like, when I saw him playing against Louisville a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, yeah, I'm not real sure. And then since then, at the end of that game, he started playing well for whatever reason. And since he's been good, when he shoots well, his energy on defense is different, which most guys, it's that way. He might be the key, because if you don't have a consistent shooter for this kind of offense that's getting singles, like, again, there are certain guys in the lineup, we know who they are. Once Big Ten comes, everybody's going to hedge them. Everybody's going to double them. They're going to grab foul. They're going to do everything they can to get them off rim early, because when Indiana doesn't start fast, they struggle. Yeah. It's an open book. So Dorn, I think he's one of the guys that I think really has to do well. Sisley's a guy, I mean, he only played 9 minutes. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Reed Bailey had 6 points against Siena. Yeah. That's not going to get it. Wilkerson started super hot, but then he didn't look for his shot a ton later, which I think is a good thing. That we need other guys to shoot. He could have scored 35 tonight. Like, nobody at this, like the Siena kind of teams, they can't guard Wilkerson. He's way too good. But he passed the ball and looked for other guys to shoot, and that's a good thing. But, like, they had 3 guys that came out and really did well. But then, again, Dorn, that was key. Him getting a few shots off and making those, and then Conerway down the stretch. Like, that guy's got some sick handles. I don't know if you can really get away with some of that at Big Ten level. You'll probably have it go the other direction a little bit. But, like, he has to get in the lane and create fouls. He's the only guy they have that can break down a defense. So for Indiana to beat a team like Michigan or something, he's probably going to be a big key too.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that gets me into what I want to talk about in likes and dislikes, is where this Indiana team is at its best. Again, winning tonight over Siena at home. It was 81-60 final score. We'll do likes and dislikes coming up next. Plus, talk about where this Indiana team is and how we're feeling going into Big Ten play. That's coming up on this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. This live edition of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Don't believe Indiana covered the spread tonight, but they still win by 21, and you can do it with basketball. You got NFL Sundays that are coming up, right? One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. If you live bet Siena tonight, I'm sorry. You were never going to win, and you probably should, take a break for a while. But you've got Big Ten games coming up, and those are going to be exciting in college basketball. plus the college football playoff, and of course, NFL Sundays and Monday Night Football happening as we speak. So you can go and be a part of that with our friends at FanDuel. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. This live edition of Locked On Hoosiers also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like college football season, especially for us at Indiana. The tailgates, the packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments that you remember forever. But getting tickets can be the most difficult part, and it's frustrating with long queues and logins and prices jumping at checkout. But for you Hoosier fans that are looking to go out to Pasadena to the Rose Bowl, Game Time gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. You can get on there literally right now and find tickets on Game Time to the Rose Bowl. So go and check them out. Okay, download the app today, download Game Time, create your account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So terms apply. Again, that's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back into this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast. I'm Jacob Goins, host of Locked On Hoosiers, as Indiana basketball gets it done over Siena 81-60. And we now do our favorite segment of the live show, likes and dislikes. And Brian, I would like to start. I would like to talk about a like, actually, where Indiana did this early in the game. And they did it late in the game, too. They pushed the basketball. They got up and down the floor. They were looking for advantages. And I know it's Siena. They're going to have it almost every time. But I think with some of these Big Ten teams that we're talking about, that Indiana will be outmatched, for lack of a better word. That's what they're going to have to do. Get up and down the floor, run past them, get transition buckets, and then have to play some legitimate defense. I thought the Hoosiers did that for 40 minutes, even though the energy wasn't quite there in the second half. But that's a like for me, is taking points where you can get them, and that's how it's going to be for Indiana, I think.
Yeah, especially in the second half of games when teams adjust after halftime to whatever you're doing offensively. I think transition basketball. Reed Bailey's a guy that I want to point out here. It wasn't tonight for sure. They got to get him out on the break. That guy's an athlete. They've got to get him out on the break. Nick Dorn out on the break.
Yeah.
To kind of find ways to get to the free throw and get cheap buckets. It's hard to score possession after possession in the Big Ten when you're playing half court.
Yeah.
You got to create layups and dunks. I mean, just straight up. It's a lot easier to throw it down if you're a 6'10" guy with nobody around instead of having two people grabbing at the ball and they don't call, like that play at the end. I forget which guy it was. Indiana got like fouled by 4 people and the ball got struck. And it's like they don't call anything. And they're just trying to get these games over. These refs are ready to go home. You have to be ready to find a way to up-tempo it. So I think that's a good point. Indiana does it a little bit. Now I want to see the big guys get in there and do some of that too.
Yeah, this comment from Charles James says it's not the lack of aggression, it's their half-court offense. If they do not get a good shot in transition, they struggle in the half-court against everybody. And you're right, but something else that I'll add that I actually liked tonight that Indiana did, and you talked about Tayton Conerway earlier, Brian, it's the dribble penetration, right? Getting the offense inside the three-point line. Siena was so darn scared that they didn't know what to do, so they just collapsed 3 and 4 guys on the ball handler. How many times did Wilkerson get in there and then whip a pass behind his head or double-handed pass over to the corner? Nick Dorn had a couple of threes that he knocked down because of that, right? The Hoosiers are going to have to do that in Big Ten play too. They're going to have to dribble into the towers that they see against Michigan or Michigan State or, any of these teams that you go up, Purdue, that you go up against. You're going to have to get in there, probably take a bump, and then get rid of that basketball and hope that they collapse. And if they don't, then you're going to have to finish at the rim. That's talking about Tayton Conerway. That's talking about Lamar Wilkerson. That's, believe it or not, Connor Enright's going to have to score somehow too. But I like the aggression with the basketball tonight. And you get paint touches, even to just the high elbow. The defense has to respect that. That takes off the pressure on the outside, and that will allow Indiana to do what they ultimately want to do, Brian, which is shoot the 3 ball.
Penetration creates driving lanes that everybody gets embarrassed by when somebody gets a blow by and a layup. The coach is yelling at you. That next possession, they're going to sink.
Yeah.
So you can get shots. You're absolutely right. There was a couple of them tonight, but Conerway, I know he turns it over some. I think finding that happy medium is something they can do. But tonight, I mean, Siena's guys couldn't stay in front of him. No. Whenever they switched, it was really bad news bears for them. Big Ten guys, a little more length, or probably another block or two. But you do also have the opportunity to get their bigs in foul trouble. Indiana's not going to win against Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State, unless they're getting those teams in foul trouble. You could argue Conerway is the most important guy because, like, DeVries is not going to go to the rack off a spin move, etc. I mean, it's possible, but that's just not likely. And, Indiana basketball is not at that level right now. And then Lamar can do it a little bit, but that's not his forte. So Enright doesn't want to shoot it. So that pretty much narrows it down. It's got to be Conerway. He's got to get in that lane and create some opportunities for others.
Yeah, it was a mismatch of all sorts tonight as Indiana takes down Siena 81-60, and a little bit of a shorter likes and dislikes segment because I do want to get into this idea, Brian, that we are now done with non-conference play. Indiana basketball played 2 games in 3 days, and now they're off until January 4th when Big Ten play picks back up, right? The Big Ten restart against Washington coming up on January 4th. What's your overall feeling? And I'll answer this too, but overall feeling for Indiana, who now, right, with non-conference play being done, of course, you do have 2 Big Ten games under your belt already that Indiana split. You lost the game on the road to Minnesota, which still makes my blood boil. And then you absolutely blew out Penn State because you got hot behind the line. You head into January. 10-3 overall, 1-1 in Big Ten play. You lost your 2 big non-conference games against Louisville and Kentucky. Your overall feelings, Brian, about where the Hoosiers are heading into 2026?
Slightly ahead of where I thought they were because of their lack of size. I didn't know if they would even be competitive with teams like Kentucky and Louisville, and I was at both those. Louisville is way better than Kentucky, don't get me wrong, but they were just finding their self and getting into a rhythm in all those games. Yeah. They had moments. I just don't think they have enough talent to be like a top 10 team this year, but they're maximizing what they have. This is a team that you probably wouldn't want to play at the end of the year in the Big Ten tournament. They could knock somebody off. Do I think they can make the NCAA? Yeah, they possibly could. But they're, again, offense has got to find a few more pieces, and they got to get more efficient down low offensively and defensively too. So if they can do that, this is a team nobody's going to want to play in February and early March. But they've got a ways to go. I honestly, though, think they're ahead of where I thought they'd be due to the lack of size.
Yeah, I mean, if this team didn't shoot the way that it does on certain nights, I think they would be in a lot more trouble than they are, right? I mean, let's say they don't have those games against Marquette or Penn State and things like that where they drop triple digits. I mean, who knows what this team would be like, but 10-3, 1-1 in Big Ten play, and you have a relatively favorable Big Ten restart with Washington and Maryland. 2 teams that are nothing crazy. Okay, Maryland is 6-6. Washington right now on the season is 7-4. So you have a chance to stack a couple of wins. Washington at home, Maryland on the road. Then you have 4 straight top 25 games, and then 5 of your first 6 after that are against top 25 teams. Nebraska, Michigan State, Iowa, Michigan, Rutgers, the lone non-top 25 game, and then your first game of the year against the Boilermakers. So that's where Indiana's going to have to get somebody or a couple of somebodies, Brian, get hot, find another shooter, find another scorer, find an X factor, and get some wins. But overall, I'm excited for what could be. I think is the best way for me to explain it. I'm excited for what could be with this Indiana team. If they start to find themselves a little bit, if Nick Dorn begins to be a real threat for the Hoosiers behind the arc, if you can get Sam Alexis and Reed Bailey to have any sort of confidence down low, and you continue to get effective play from Lamar Wilkerson, Tayton Conerway, and Tucker DeVries, I think the Hoosiers have a chance to beat some people this year. I think you have a chance to be a 7 or 8 seed in the NCAA tournament and make a run. Who you never know. But there's also the flip side of it is what could not be, which is very scary for Indiana, which is a long stretch of losing games the same way, teams having the formula to beat you, and you have no way to overcome that. That's the scary part. But I think the Hoosiers will be okay, is kind of where I'm at with, a week and a half or so of no games for Indiana. That's kind of where I sit right now.
Yeah, there's going to be a few games they get smoked. I think that's pretty inevitable because of the lack of size. That's inevitable. But they're also going to beat some teams that didn't think they were going to lose Indiana because they're going to hit. They can score, man.
Yeah.
Indiana hit 15 threes the other day. Like, it's just they can shoot the basketball. And but you have guys that can shoot like Indiana. They got 2 out of the top 5 or 10 shooters in the country when they're on like that. Wilkerson and DeVries, those guys can really, really shoot. And now Dorn's starting to shoot. I'm curious who it's going to be. There's going to be a game Indiana plays on the road that they beat somebody that's better than them because they get hot, and it's just there's nothing the other team can do about it.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to have a game just the opposite of that too. They'll be frustrating at times because you live by the 3, you die by it, but they'll be fun to watch.
Indiana wraps up non-conference play with an 81-60 victory over Siena. They have Washington coming to Assembly Hall on January 4th. He is Brian Smith, host of the Portal Podcast on our Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Jacob Goins, host of Locked On Hoosiers. Make sure you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. Follow us on your audio platforms. We will have a normal episode of Locked On Hoosiers coming out tomorrow where we talk about quarterback drama in the transfer portal and a whole lot more. So more coming up tomorrow on Locked On Hoosiers. We appreciate you being here. Until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.